Alright, so it is Sunday around 2 o'clock, and a little regroup on working on that bus, crusty rather, and I figured I'd try to see if I can put the word out to go get another transmission. I put a thing on Facebook real quick, and then I hit the local salvage yard around by me, and the guy's a VW guy, but only if you know it and he knows you. So I went over and I asked Tom, I said, hey, I'm looking for a trans, swing axle trans, bug or bus. Do you have anything by any chance? And he takes me over to one of his trailers, tractor trailer, like 40-foot box kind of trailer. He's got a bunch, and he uses them as a fence. And in one of them, actually probably a bunch of them, but one of them had this guy sitting inside of it. He goes, how about one for a 67? Which is nice because it's got a 12-volt bell housing on it. And I go, do you know if it's any good or anything? And he goes, I wouldn't have kept it if it wasn't any good. So he suspects that it's fine. So that could be the replacement I need for it. Again, that's out of a Beetle. If you look at the arms, you can see there's no gear reduction or anything on them. So what you got to do is you got to split where the ring gear is, flip the guts over and put them back in, because you have gear reduction, it swaps the direction that the axles are turning, because there's a set of gears in the end of it. So by flipping the ring gear over, now it goes the correct direction. If you just put it directly in, you'd have 4 gears in reverse and 1 forward. So you got to change that, put the other arms on it, and the nose cone, this piece right here, is for a Beetle. You got to put a bus one in. It's a different orientation, so those pieces need to be changed. So we're gonna go and get into that in a little bit, and we're gonna go pop the sides off. We'll see what it looks like, and make sure everything's clean inside, and see if that's our next viable option to getting a good trans in crusty. And just it is what it is. Sometimes we're just trying to get the big push on to get it done for a show. Meanwhile, I should have stopped and took my time, and I know what I did wrong. It was the mix match of changing those ring gears around. When I should have left what was in the box in there, I probably would have been okay, but I still think it would have been popping out a second gear. It just doesn't feel right. So that's what happened. Needed a day to rest. I was sore after that. That was 15 hours of wrenching that went on pretty much non-stop the whole time. And this is still the aftermath of it. So took Crusty to a not Crusty, I took Lucy rather to the swap meet this morning. The swap meet went to the Epping Dragway. It used to be over in Amherst, but they took over. And didn't grab much. The only thing I did grab was some really heavy welding clamps. That style there. And the handles on the bottom. The 2 big pinchers that come together. Nice heavy duty clamps. I grabbed those. That was about it. Tomorrow is Atkinson. Monday's a holiday. And so Lucy's going to come back out and play for a little bit. I've been running her around, considering Krusty's down and out. So she's getting to get the sun beat on her a little bit. And of course the bikes are out of the back of the truck. So I'm going to pack some of this stuff in the tent garage and get it out of my way. I'm probably going to take that motor off the stand. I'll stick it on a dolly or something for now. Eventually that's got to go over and go in the parts bus over at Brian's, get it out of here. That's for a future project. And I could put the transmission in that stand and work on it instead of trying to flop around on the table like I was doing. So we're going to try to slow down a little bit on this one. We'll get that trans in here, kind of look at things a little bit more carefully, and just kind of take a time. If I need something, go get it instead of trying to rush through it. So let's keep going, and let's go try this all over again. Alright, so that should make life a little bit more organized. Pop that motor off the stand, got that out of the way. Kind of grabbed all the tools, didn't bother putting anything away because it's all the same crap I'm going to need to use over again. Just kind of grouped them in like piles and then washed off the end of the table for the work surface. And then stuck this transaxle in the stand, which I should have done last time, but way it goes. So this will be a little bit easier for handling and moving around without the bell housing flopping in the breeze. So I'm gonna wheel that over, probably leave it right where it is, move the truck out of the way, hit it with the air gun, blow all the crap off of it. I don't think it's a 67 because I do see that, I know it's dark, but you can see where it's going to ground away. There's two different sizes of flywheels, a 180 and a 200. 180 is like up to 66 down, and then I think it follows 6 volt and 12 volt. I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive of that. And then 67 up would have a larger boss inside that, but again, I'm not positive of that. So in any event, it's already set up to fit a 12 volt flywheel, so that's okay. Not that that's that big of a deal. You just got to do some grinding on the bell housing. What else? I think that's it until I do some cleaning, and then we'll get it twisted sideways and we'll see what's inside and what that looks like. Alright, so you know how 15 hours went by on the other transmission and you guys saw like 37 minutes of it? It's because of stuff like this that takes forever that isn't worth showing. But that's been exposed to the weather for a long time. I don't need any of those bearings or anything. But you have to slide the outer housing off so that you can get to the circlip that's on the inside that holds the axle on. So it's kind of one of those deals. And I figure I'd show you part of that. First one I do with a wrench. I think I can get smart with this one. I'll try it with an impact gun, see how it works. So the reason why you got to do all that, because right down in there, it's that clip you gotta get off. Once you get that clip off, this ring can come off, and then you can get the axle out of it. Understand? All right. Alright, so I got all the screws out of this side of the cover. The ring gear right now should be sitting on the lower section, and we have to flip that around and put that on the passenger side to make it a bus setup. So this one should come off without all the guts coming out of it, hopefully. So we'll spin it around, tap it off, and we'll take a peek inside, see what we got. I took the drain plugs out of it, and the oil, they drained it out of oil, but there was a little bit of oil, still wetness in it. And it was clean. Let's put the pin in it. Let's see if we can tap that thing off of there. And I'm gonna take one last look to make sure you're looking at the same thing. Yes, you are. So. Cough for me. There goes a washer. I forgot. There's two tabs that kind of stick up. Methinks I better stand it sideways before it hits the ground. Some big pliers. Hopefully not scar anything while we're doing it. There we go. I see ball bearings. It's a good sign. You guys want to look, don't you? Keep putting my flashlight down. Here it is. Let's see what we got. A little bit of crap up there. Well, not too bad. Bearing's quiet. Another thing I noticed too, this part right here, there's a couple of sheaves, these two things. So they go on with the end of the axle, and it's like the predecessor to a CV joint. And the other ones were pretty scarred up that I took apart. These look pretty good. No galling on them. That surface and that surface. There's two sets of them, one for each side. The other part was, I did notice is there's that snap ring, and then that thrust washer that's underneath it. And the thrust washer has like a nipple that sticks out of it that keys itself to right there. And on each transmission I noticed one side was always cracked and it was twisted in the hole. So I have a feeling that maybe that's the side that maybe all the thrust gets pushed against from the ring and pinion. It may drive that direction all the time and puts a lot of pressure on it and kills it. But fortunately, between all these transmissions, I have two good ones to put in. I don't see anything obvious on the ring. But we're going to go pop that other side apart now, and I'm going to go take that whole assembly out of there, and we'll give it a better inspection. And then, again, that has to go on this side. So I think that bearing can stay on there. I think it'll clear when it comes out. We're going to find out. Yes, we're going to find out. Alright, so both sides are apart. Get the pumpkin out of there. I don't see anything looking bad. It looks good. It's dirty, and it's got some white sitting right here. But I think this is just where it's been sitting in one spot forever. You know what I mean? It's kind of like mold kind of looking stuff that's on it. And looking in the bell housing. The box. This is the pinion, and it looks like it made contact across the whole thing. It seems like on the other one I was touching, you know, way down here, so I definitely had that other one screwed up. But you learn your lessons, don't you? Well, you hope you learn your lessons. If you're not, then it's a problem. So other than some debris, I don't see anything too funky. Where's that material up top that we were talking about? That's not metal. It's kind of a grease of some sort, so that's good. It's nothing, we are not going to worry ourselves about that. Yeah, it's kind of just some coagulated looking grease. So what I should have done really was left one side of the case on, because the halves have to stay on their correct side, because this is the clutch cable mount, so then that stays on the same side. So essentially you're just swapping that unit over. These plates stay where they're supposed to stay. I also noticed the other one had a groove for an O-ring. Actually, the groove for the O-ring would have been on here. I see these don't have that. So we're gonna go wash that up, and I'm just gonna right stuff it with no paper gasket. I'm gonna clean these out of there. I don't think they had right stuff back then, and that's what I assembled everything else before on it and on Lucy, and I haven't had a problem. So that's the way we're gonna go. So I'm gonna go wash this thing within an inch of its life, and take a wire wheel, clean off all that gasket material, take some carb cleaner, clean off all the oil, get it nice and dry, and we'll get this set up to get sealed back up. And we're gonna go do that, and then take the tail shaft off and see what the tail shaft looks like. Alright, okay. Just put it back together, kind of dry fit. The covers are cleaned up, everything's kind of washed. Of course, this cover's not on it, so it's got a little... Actually not in... Yeah, it's just the drag of the gears. Let's say it's not a gear. So, let's put it in a gear. These bearings make a little bit of noise. They're dry, and there's nothing in them. But I tried looking for pits in the races. I didn't see anything. A little staining, but I didn't see any actual pits. And the problem is with a bearing, you want to pit or scratch. And what happens is the ball rolls over that scratch. It puts a scratch on the ball. Well, the ball now deposits another scratch somewhere else, and it just becomes a snowball effect, and that's how the bearings eventually burn themselves up. It's just due to one area that has damage, and again, it just starts, you know, transferring itself all over the place, and before you know it, you got that white noise coming out of them, and they're no good. I think what I'm probably gonna go do, what I'm gonna do is wash this one, and we're gonna see if this makes the same kind of noise. They say you can kind of like see under the race there. You're kind of looking for pits. This one's got a bunch of oil and stuff on it, so it's hard to tell. But that's what I did on that one. I kind of looked around and see what they are. But I think what I'm gonna go do first is I'll put the other cover on this side, and I just want to see how it feels. Again, the other one, the transmission kind of was bound up. When I went to go spin the clutch, it would give me kind of a chugging effect. And I think where I went wrong again was I changed the ring gear that was not in with that pinion, and they were mismatched. And there were different teeth. One had 33 teeth on it, and the other gear had 35 teeth. I put the one that had 33 on it because I figured it would have given me a faster top end speed. But the pinion gear still had the same amount of teeth on it. I think there were both 8 teeth on them, or 9, something like that. So they were both matched, so I figured why change that if they're the same thing. I thought it was okay, but I have a feeling that those two did not jive together, and that's where that roar kind of vibration sound is coming from on that transmission. So, all right, enough gabbing. Again, I'm gonna go take the other cover, which is nice and pretty clean. As you can see, I took all the gasket stuff off of that. Took all the gasket stuff off of there, and actually, I'll probably just leave you on. We'll go tap that guy into place. It goes. They can only go on one way. There's a span of bolts that only allows us to do it that way. Get the hammer. Spin it while I'm doing it. Where you going? Let's put the pin back in you. Nope, pin's not going in you. About 1/8 of the gap yet. That's just that bearing trying to seat into this cover, the outer part of it. Just suck it down with a couple of nuts. Dry fit. Gap over there. Good. Well, that's home on both sides. And I would say, well, that feels a lot better than the other one. The other one, you spun the disc, it was like dunk, 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 dunk. I thought it was because it was dry. All right. So I think I'm gonna leave this alone. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna go wash that bearing I just showed you and see how that one feels. If it feels the same, I'll just go with these. If that one feels quieter, I am going to wait on these until you pull the other transmission apart and take the 2 bearings out of the other transmission and put them in here. They seem like they had some nice sealing, dirt seal on each side of them. We'll go with those. All right, that's my plan. I took that tail shaft off. I don't see anything funky. Tail shaft, keep calling it tail shaft. It is the nose cone. You can think of it the other way around. It's the front of the car. And both sides are snugged up. It turns free. I washed that bearing out. The bearing's a little noisy, but not as noisy as the other one. So I am going to wait before I seal this up and try to steal the components out of the other one. So that's pretty much as far as I can go with it. I need the nose cone and I need those bearings. So now it's time to rip the bus back apart again and get the engine out and get the trans out and all that kind of happy stuff. So you ever have that strange feeling? Yeah, been there before. All right, so that's all back out. Of course, it came out a lot easier because all the hardware was nice and clean and free. So now I just gotta start stripping those. That's what the pain in the ass is, though, because the gear reductions don't really like to come apart all that easy. So you know, I'll fight with them a little bit, but that's it. And you know what other thing I noticed too? The tail shaft on a bus is different from a Beetle. And I took that tail shaft off and I didn't even bother even looking at it. But as far as I can tell, that tail shaft is a Type 2. And, get the serial number. Beetle is starts with a 1, and bus starts with a 2. So Type 2, hence the name Type 2. So there's one of the Type 2 tail shafts that I had, and here's the other Type 2 that was on that transmission. So I'm not quite sure what the deal is with that, unless it was in like a Baja bug, and I don't know. I don't know. But again, so that was different. And plus that's got a provision for a reverse light. There's the one that was in there, and that has, you're stuck in my hand. Says the same thing also. I just found that a little weird. I didn't even have to take that off, but I did. So we're in it now. Alright, enough of BSing. I'm gonna get this thing up on the table, start getting the gear reduction boxes apart, and get those 2 bearings out of that trans and get them on that. And I'd like to see if I can get at least those 2 halves sealed and let it sit overnight before putting fluid in it. And I'll resume this project tomorrow. Alright, my camera took a turd. The screen went blank and I couldn't see if I was recording anything, so I stuck the pin in it and reset it and reloaded everything, so hopefully we're catching everything. I got all the guts taken out of this trans, and what I'm kind of seeing is those chatter marks right there. I think those are quite suspect of something just running into each other a little bit too hard, because I don't remember seeing them before. If I took it down the road doing 60 for about an hour, maybe it would have polished itself in. I think that, you know, either this is too far out or this was too far in. I kind of think that was okay. I think the fact that this ring gear was too close into it, and by me changing it to a different one, I kind of gave it a spoof. When it was still sitting on this side, I looked at it. It seemed like it was in the same place that it was on the other one. The bottom of the gear probably comes right to about right there. So I think it was in the right location. Then again, really, how much? You know, this could have been too far that way or that way. Yeah, I don't know. I'm babbling now. Well, anyway, I'm not using this, so it doesn't really matter. The only thing I do want to get out of it is pull this clip and spin this shaft out of it, because this shaft is in a lot nicer shape than the one that's in there because it's rusty. So that's what I'm going to go do. Start with that, and then I'm going to go wield that thing over here, start stealing the bearings, reassemble the the guts on that and start reassembly. We're halfway there. Alright. And so winds down another evening. The motor's still out, as you can tell. And well, this is the aftermath, but pretty much all together. Yeah, I got a couple of little things to do. Just want to heat up and bend the clutch lever out of the way a little bit. Swap over the throwout bearing, the ground strap install, and the mounts. So put those mounts on it. I change that ground strap and that over to it. And you see how this one stands kind of straight up and down? Well, that one's got a bend to it. Well, you got to put a bolt in from the back. See if you can see what the problem is. Yeah, that makes it very difficult to squeeze your hand up inside there and put the bolt in. I did it on the other one. I ended up hooking up the clutch cable, pulling the clutch back, putting some blocks of wood holding the clutch pedal down, and then sticking the bolt in. But for ease, we're going to go heat that sucker up and kind of kick it back a little bit the other direction. Kind of happy medium. I'll leave a little bit of a bend to it, but you know, just try to get it out of the way of the bolt there a little bit so I can get the sucker in there. And on that note, hopefully the next video will be installing this thing, and we lived happily ever after. If not, I'm buying a freeway flyer. Alright guys, so thanks for watching, commenting, subscribing. And we are at, it is 11 o'clock by the time I wash up. And it was only 10-hour day today, slacking. So, alright, well, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.